All right, guys. I shall break the silence. I shall break the vow of silence. And I shall speak with you all. So, guys, how is it going? What's the latest with you? Um, how's your life? Anything new, different, exciting, depressing, misery inducing in your lives? Dates, lack of dates, rejections, secret codes and green lights that girls are sending you, showing you that they definitely want you so bad. Let me know, guys, what's going on with you. I've got some quiz stuff for you guys tonight. We can do Q&A. If Tully wants me to watch this clip of Pop the Balloon, hey, why not? We can do whatever. So, yep, I see, Ellis. Okay. Frustrating as fuck. The flakes out there, but okay. Interesting. All right. So, you guys have some interesting questions in the chat. So, let me know what you want to do. The experimenter is excited for quizzes. Okay. And somebody, they're probably not on this live. Okay. But there's like a new show on Netflix. Okay. And it's called Netflix. Why can I just not remember this name? Damn it. Okay, it's like this romantic comedy thing with Adam Brody and Kristen Bell. What is it called? Hold on. 1 second, guys. Apologies for that. Nobody Wants This. Okay, have you guys seen or heard of Nobody Wants This on Netflix? Well, me and Beardo were watching it last night, and because this guy in my last live, he commented saying, lots of girls are going crazy for the relationship in this show. Can you comment? So I'm like, yeah, let me check out this show. So I did, and the guy in this show is better than the best pickup artist on YouTube, that's for sure. Okay. He is definitely a female gaze icon, and I think that guys could really learn a lot from it. And even with Beardo, I was stopping at certain points and quizzing him even. And I was like, Beardo, do you think a girl would like this or not like this? Even he was getting stumped on some of them. So yeah, it's a great show for learning about the female gaze in case you guys want to check it out. So yeah, let me know. Pro Theologist says, do not underestimate older woman. My new 61-year-old is like a young chick, mentally and physically, having lots of fun. Well, Pro Theologist, I am happy this is happening. I respect the sentiment, but the way you phrased this, I mean, I guess you're among your bros except me, but let's just say if we're being gentle and mild at the beginning of the live, you didn't phrase it in a very female gaze way. Women will not like what you wrote. However, you're speaking right to the heart of males. So yeah. Only Divergences says, your quizzes are very lighting. That is great, Only Divergences. I'm glad that you think that, and I'm glad that you're learning from them. So that makes me happy to hear, to be honest. Roughneck Delta says, I don't pay for Netflix. Okay, well, I guess you can't do it then. The Experimenter says, hey, had my first date a while back. We met up at the park after my birthday, and she hooked me up with so many snacks. It was a really chill time. We really enjoyed ourselves. Oh, wow. So, had my first. Wait, so is this your first ever date, the Experimenter? And why was she bringing you so many snacks? I mean, it sounds delightful, but this is an interesting date. How was this like? What is this? She's hooking you up with snacks. I mean, can you not buy snacks on your own? I'm confused, but it does sound quite fun. So this sounds awesome. Oh, we got our first red pill pillified comment from Bob Bill. He comes back, but he's starting us off on the right note with a healthy dose of insulting women. And that's sarcasm for the YouTube algorithm, who's flagging me for insulting women. I'm like, what the hell? Nobody says how to approach older women as a younger guy. Well, nobody. It's pretty much the same as you would approach younger women as a younger guy. But you will need to kind of understand what their hesitations probably will be about dating a younger guy. Like, oh, you're too young for me. How are you going to respond to that? You know, we've kind of talked about this on different lives. If they challenge you, some good ways to respond. But basically, you want to make them feel, even though I'm younger than you, I'll still act like a man. I'll still kind of be the one to be kind of in the leading role. And I'll still make you feel like a woman, even though you're more mature than me, basically. So, Roughneck Delta, I'm not an expert on that. I mean, all I know is about legal sex workers, which you can go to Nevada for that. Everyone else, perhaps some men, will be better to talk to about that. The Captain India says, how to get girls in college. Guys, it's basically the same. You got to know the basics, the basics of dating etiquette. It's not like, I mean, you can hang out, you can go to parties, but once you're there, you can talk to them in the dorm common room if you have one of those. That's what I had. You can talk to them on campus. Just walk up to people and start a conversation with them. I mean, it's if you don't know, it's not going to vary too much. Girls have the female gaze in college, and they got the female gaze when they're 61 too. So, all right, guys. So, shall we perhaps go into a quiz, or if you guys have any other questions? So the experimenter says, of course I can buy snacks from the store, but it was just a little gift she gave me since it was my birthday the day before. Oh, that's awesome, the experimenter. Sounds like she likes you. Tolly says, Victoria, I can't find clips because they are from other YouTubers, but you can put the first two guys and the last guy from episode 11 or 23. Okay. Let's see. Episode 11, Pop the Balloon. So the thing is, if I play this, are they going to flag me for copyright? I'm not sure. Like if I play it from YouTube. I don't know, Tully. So I got to be careful because YouTube is really ramping up their censorship. The Captain India says, I am having conversation but not able to take it next level. All right, the Captain India, give me an example of the situation. Like you met this girl, you took her on a date, and this is what you talked about, but you were not able to create sexual chemistry, or just give me a little more detail what you're talking about. Okay, guys, while you put things in the chat, I will find a quiz question for you guys. Okay. I was thinking we could maybe do TikToks today, but we'll see. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. All right, guys, I just want to start you off with an easy one. Okay. So, I don't actually know if this is an easy one. It might actually be kind of hard, but whoops. Okay, let me try a different one. Okay. Okay. Sorry, sorry, might be boring you guys right now. I know, but I'm preparing it. I think I got some good ones coming up. Okay. Well, we're gonna do some controversial ones today, I think. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Okay. We'll see how these go. All right, we got some. So TiVo says, hello, good night. Hello, good night. The experimenter says, this is the same person I made that animation for. Things are great for us. Trying to plan another meetup at the park sometime this week. Awesome, the experimenter. This is awesome. This is wonderful. Sounds like you guys are hitting it off. And it all started with you taking a risk, putting yourself out there, making a move. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Very happy for you. So Tifo says, love your content. Only Divergent says, I've got a story about a girl I met at the gym. I want your feedback after the quiz. All right. Put it in the chat because I'm going to read that. I'm going to read the heck out of that. The experiment says, it's always useful to continue learning this stuff so I can improve. Wonderful growth mindset, as they say. The experimenter. Yes. There's always more to learn and improve. Indeed. And that's the attitude you want to have too. The Captain India says, anyways, I needed a suggestion, so I have seen many examples like this. For context, there is one guy, say guy A and girl B. Girl B talks to guy A a lot. Okay, right. Asking for a friend. Right, the Captain India. Guy A. Got it. Joseph says, a woman at my gym shows interest in me, but she's married. I'm hesitant to even talk to her. But should I and potentially see what her situation may be? Facepalm reacts so hard, Joseph. Okay. Well, let's just take it at face value. But this is classic man, if I do say so myself. But okay. So here's what you got to do, Joseph. Talk to her normally. Okay? Talk to her if she really is showing interest in you, which I'm going to have to give you the benefit of the doubt here. But, just looking at you or saying hi to you or smiling at you, that's not showing like sexual interest in you. That's just being friendly at the gym. However, even so, yes, you should engage her in conversation. You should talk to her and you should be friendly with her back. Okay? Perhaps in this situation, she will then drop some kind of hint if on the rare chance she really does want to bang you so bad like you're fantasizing about. But yeah, you can talk to women. even ones you don't think want to fuck you. So just talk to her, chat with her, and be friendly with her. From there, more will be revealed. Okay. But that's always the best plan of action, to be honest. Okay. There's never a benefit for you guys, in my opinion, just ignoring the woman and not talking because you're going to hone your conversational and flirtation skills by talking to women. And many of you, I don't know if it's you, Joseph, but many of you are heavily weighted to avoid women. Okay. So just talk to her. Anyway, Patrick says, your work is awesome. Thanks for results. Thank you, Patrick. Um, Joseph says, okay, thanks. That's what I was saying. All right, Joseph. Sorry, I was a bit too hard on you, but yeah, just chat, see how it goes. But I do feel it's a very common, I don't want to say blind spot. There's got to be a better word for it, but let's just say many men, they have like this subconscious fantasy that married women want them really bad. It's like, do they? Do they? You know, and also it can kind of be like a cope in my opinion because it's like, oh, well, she doesn't really reject me because she's married anyway. So you should be talking to lots of women, married women, unmarried women, elderly women. Maybe don't talk to young women, okay? Because that might weird them out, scare them. But like really young women, obviously, I'm talking about. But basically, just be friendly with all women, and that will be the best approach. All right. So, first quiz question, guys. You guys ready? All right, let's go. So, he goes, well, this is a message on an online dating website, okay? So he goes this. Well, when are we going to bone? She says, excuse me? He says, you may be excused. She says, has this tactic worked for you previously? He says, go back and look at your profile. She says, what about it? He says, short-term fun, girl. That's usually what it means, but my bad, my bad. Then she goes, yes, I am aware what it means. And yes, that is what I am looking for. So I suppose what I meant to say is, has your lack of tact and charisma ever yielded positive results? So guys, what is wrong with what this gentleman did here? I mean, she said she's looking for short-term fun, and he basically was direct. He was honest. And he said, when are we going to bone? And she didn't like it. What? Why are women so emotional and crazy? Just kidding, YouTube. Sarcasm yet again. They're going to take down my channel if they think I'm like insulting women. They don't get my sense of humor. But anyway, back to the quiz. My point being, what did he do wrong, guys? I mean, she said she was looking for short-term fun, and the guy asked her straight up, look at your profile. Do you want a bone? So, did he do anything wrong? Use the old brains, guys, and get your answers in. Put them below in the chat. Did he do anything wrong, or was she in the wrong? It's like, am I the asshole or she? You are definitely the asshole. You know what I'm saying? So, was he in the wrong? Was he in the right? And what's your reasoning? Okay? Give me your answers, guys. Get them in. Get them in. So, Bob Bill says, nothing. Maybe he's not attractive enough because that works fine for a Chad. Okay. YY says, oh, how to look more dominant in daily life behind girls. So Joseph says, still, he's coming off sexual right off the bat. So is this good or bad, Joseph? Because she says she's looking for short-term fun. Only Divergent says asking to bone isn't a fun way of the type of fun she was looking for. Um, elaborate on that. I don't fully know. I think I agree with you, but perhaps I need more. Lookbook says he went sexual way too soon. Should have started slow and escalated after comfort and rapport. Very good, Lookbook. Even for a girl who says she's looking for short term fun, she would still want you to start slow and build comfort and rapport? Is that what you're telling me, Lookbook? Really, really? That's wild. Women these days, what do they want? They can't make up their minds, right? Very good, Lookbook. You're getting an A for sure. Bob Bill says, if a guy's 10 out of 10 is that direct, girls love it. Ah, the Chad fantasy surfaces. Chad can do no wrong. If Chad just said, here's my dick, women would absolutely love it. Okay. I'm going to give you partial credit, Bob Bill, because some women who are just totally taken with this so-called Chad's like elite supermodel level looks might be willing to overlook a lot, okay? But most women, they're not going to overlook something like this because what Lookbook was saying is they want and need to develop safe vibes, or as Lookbook said, comfort and rapport. Okay. And generally, it's just not correct etiquette. It's not correct etiquette in female gaze land to be direct about sex like that. Even if you want to have sex, okay, it's like we're Japanese over here where they've got a lot of, conventions about how you should and shouldn't behave in polite society. That's kind of more like female gaze land, okay? So it's like socially completely inappropriate to just say to a woman, want to bang? Here's my dick. Do you want it? What is appropriate is more what Lookbook was saying, is to develop the pretense of I'm interested in you. I'm safe. I want to get to know you. I want to take you out on a date. And if that goes well, then she'll be like, okay, he passed. Let's bang. All right. But one way you're not going to pass is by saying, oh, you said that you wanted to bang. So why don't you? This is not the way to get what you want. Okay. So hopefully this is obvious. I thought this would be an easy warm up for us, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. So the Captain says, no, he looks desperate, not respectable. Well, this isn't really the reason, Captain India. I agree that it's no, but it's not because he looks, he doesn't look like a nice guy or whatever. He looks kind of unsafe. So I guess I'm going to give you partial credit for that. Okay, I'll give you a B, the Captain India. Only Divergence says he could have been normal and just escalated normally. Exactly, Only Divergence. I'm giving you an A for that because that's exactly what you want to do. Even if the girl wants to have sex, even if the girl says she wants to have sex, you still have to do the normal dating etiquette, almost as if she didn't want to have sex, okay? But then just make sure at the end of the date to invite her back to your place. And if she actually does want to have sex, she'll be more likely to accept. And then you'll have it, okay? But you don't have to lay out the groundwork beforehand, get her to sign on that dotted line, and square it away. No, that's not how you do it. Counterintuitive, perhaps. So Joseph says, just because she's looking for short-term fun doesn't mean she wants to be approached sexually right away. A, Joseph, exactly. Totally says, looking for fun means she wants the same experience / etiquette from a guy that she would want a relationship from, but she is not looking to create one for XYZ reason. I'm going to give you an A+ for that. That's a very great point. Yes, absolutely. YY says, he makes the girl look bitchy. He has to do it slowly. Well, I don't understand this, YY. What does this have to do with making the girl look bitchy? I mean, Well, I kinda know what you mean actually, because like, yeah, he kinda had that attitude of like, "Wow, check your profile." Like, he was acting kinda bitchy and acting like she was acting bitchy, so it's he had a weird attitude. Roughneck Delta says, "Even if she's DTF, you still have to be coy about it." You do, okay? If you wanna call it coy, yeah, or you wanna call it, catering to the female gaze, yes. Alejandro says, "Do you understand men becoming incels?" Well, I mean, what do you mean specifically? Because, like, do I understand why they would be involuntarily celibate? Absolutely. You wanna have sex, you can't have sex. That sucks, right? I mean, I get it. But, I mean, do I understand them becoming kind of, like, radicalized and misogynistic and, enacting violence on women and stuff? I mean, not 100% obviously, but, I can tell that they get bitter, they get resentful. They believe a lot of the red pill lies or even black pill lies. I mean, I'm a big fan of the black pill or whatever, certain aspects of it, like the importance of looks maxing and everything, but there's other channels that just talk about like giving up hope and just it's impossible to improve the way you look and all this BS. And they get convinced by that, or it's just they want to believe that. And that's horrible because when you give up hope, you have nothing left. So, yeah, what do you guys think about it? So, DM says, I thought they were into stranger danger. Is that like meaning like a fantasy, or do you actually think that? Only Divergence says, is it like some unspoken code about comfort and being normal, right? Um, I think that's part of it. I mean, by comfort, you guys have to understand something about women, okay? It's not just comfort. It's like fear for their life, okay? And I know this isn't pleasant to hear for guys, okay? Because you guys don't want to think, oh, I'm not a asshole. Like I would never hurt a woman, okay? Well, a lot of things you guys do unintentionally cause a lot of like pain and suffering to women. You don't even know you're doing it, okay? So women are scared of men. This is a baseline for basically all women. So one of the number one things they want out of a date with a stranger is to develop some sense of safety with a guy. Some sense of, okay, he's a normal guy. He is pleasant, he's polite, he wants to get to know me. These are all good signs. Once they've established that, they're like, okay, now let's think about getting sexual with this guy. But that's a baseline, and it's not just comfort. It's much deeper than that. It's it's honestly quite intense fear. If you could like take a laser and like really or X-ray and see into the brain of women, I think you would be shocked at the level of fear they have. So keep that in mind when trying to understand the female gaze, okay? Because so many men make this mistake where they just think like, "Oh, hey, just come over to my house," or "Let's go on a hike in the middle of the woods." And the woman was like, "You're crazy. Like, why would I do that?" And they're like, "Well, what's the big deal? I'm not a murderer," or whatever. And it's like, you just blew it in like 5 different ways and you didn't even realize it. So, yeah. So, hello, Kevman. And Bob Bill says, "Red pill isn't misogynist." Really? Really, really, Bob Bill? Explain that. Um, Only divergences says, like a filter. Alejandro says, "You're the realest channel on this app, to be honest." Thank you, Alejandro. Kevin says, "Learn to detach and have fun and notice when the girl's into you. She'll want to connect and be close to you. When she does, she might even touch you." Well, Kevin, I don't really like this attitude. I mean, yes, there's some truth to it, but I don't think taking this passive approach and waiting for the girl to touch you is the right move for most of you guys because if anything, you're erring way too far on that side of the scale, okay, guys? It's like we got this and you guys are like tipping like this crazy to the side of let me do nothing and let the girl touch me, grab my dick, flirt with me, send me the green lights. No, I want you to at least tip the other way, which is let me lead, let me make a move, let me try to seduce her, okay? Because maybe 3% of women are going to do this to you guys. Perhaps more if you really look smacks really hard. But in general, this is not the female gaze. This is the male gaze, okay? This is the female gaze, if you guys get it. So they're going to want you to be in the masculine role. All right? So John says, at least one date required to assure the woman you respect her. You know, John, I agree. And you can hook up at the end of that date. You can hook up and the date could last 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? The date could last 15 minutes, honestly. But taking her out, showing her the respect of, I understand you need to vet me. I understand that you probably feel unsafe meeting a random man and going and getting naked with him behind closed doors. A date is kind of a sign of respect for her perspective. Okay? And she might need varying levels of time to feel comfortable with you. 15 minutes might be all that is needed for some girls. Okay? That'd be a rare girl, but you know what I'm saying? So, yes. Patrick says, that's so refreshing to hear. No says, mewing for the win. Nice. Tully says, I really want to see your female reaction to the episode 11 Ninja Turtle guy. That's going to be paid content. Okay. Yes. What is Lashner? The beginning of us all. It doesn't matter. Lookbook says, sexually escalating too fast will also trigger a normal girl's slut shame defense trigger. No girl wants to feel like a slut, even though she wants to have fun with a cool guy. Yes. Yes, that's true. Unless she's completely accepted her sexuality. Okay. So that could be rare in some circles and more common in others. But yes, that's another important point. It is because the girl wants to feel, like I said, safe, but also respects it. Like like you're saying, like she doesn't just feel like I'm a horrible woman because I love sex and I cannot wait to have sex and I have no discernment. These are the kinds of like things that women are kind of told. Like, you're not a good woman if you have sex too fast, if you like sex too much. Okay. So, thinking strategically, like Lookbook's saying, you don't want to activate that. You want to just make her feel like I gave you the appropriate amount of time. I escalated slowly. I gave you a chance to get to know me. I expressed interest in your personality as well as flirted. We kissed at the end of the date. That's very normal. You know, we went back to your place, not to have sex, but just to kind of hang out and get to know each other more. One thing led to another. It's not that you're a total sex addict or something that just cannot stop herself from having sex, even though that's normal because women have a sexuality too. You know, that's not appropriate for a woman in women's heads. This is kind of like the subconscious message that society sends women. So, yes, you want to just give them a chance for things to go in a natural pace. One thing leads to another, and you have sex rather than give me that dick, big boy, or whatever. Like it, they don't like feeling like that. Like they don't feel like feeling like aggressive and like grabby and needy when it comes to sex. They like the guy to initiate with them. They like the guy to make them feel desired. They like the guy to make them feel pursued, not the other way around. So, does that make sense? So, let's see what you guys are saying now. Tim O'Connor says, glad I could finally make a live stream. Started reading Owner and Own and getting clitorid. I've been enjoying the experience. Tim, Star Student Award. Wonderful, Tim. I'm scared for you reading Owner and Owned. That was a wild wreck. But Becoming Clitter, I'm so glad you're reading that. Life-changing book. Wonderful. And awesome that you actually are doing it. Okay. And I am happy for the girls who will get to be with you in the future, Tim, because that will make a big difference for them, for sure. So interesting. So Tim says, Victoria, there's this girl I've been speaking to, and whenever I direct the attention towards her and flirt with her, she tells me she wants to talk about me. Any thoughts? Okay, whenever I direct the attention towards her and flirt with her, she tells me she wants to talk about me. Any thoughts? Well, this is a very like shy person thing to do, in my opinion. You know, people who are kind of insecure and nervous, they do this a lot. Like, oh, let's not talk about me anymore. Let's talk about you. It's like, let's take the attention off me because I feel self-conscious and I feel safe when we're talking about someone that's not me. So, you know, you might be making her feel flustered, embarrassed, shy, and this is basically a good thing. And I feel that her saying that is kind of her way of saying to you, I'm feeling shy, nervous, embarrassed. That's my take. I mean, I guessing here, Tim, but that is a very common shy thing. I mean, that's like the number one advice for shy people is like, don't talk about yourself. People love to talk about themselves. It's not really the best advice in my opinion, but it is good, but it's not enough for really shy people because they naturally avoid talking about themselves. YY says, I just want to tell you that you have great content and you're so pretty. Thank you so much, YY. That's really nice of you. So Kevin says, oh God, Kevin, I don't like this, what you're saying, but DM says, where did this Chad term come from? I think it comes from kind of like the incels. Like they have their like incel dictionary and stuff, and like I think they kind of made up the terms. Pretty great. So Tim O'Connor says, now I'm thinking I just escalated too quickly after hearing what you said a minute ago, Victoria. All right, what did you do, Tim? Let's hear it. Steve says, Victoria, what are 5 things Beardo does that you think are really attractive? And also, thanks for your lives. All right, Steve, I will endeavor to give you an answer. Number one thing Beardo's always doing, like I was noticing, he's always just like saying, like as he's passing me in the halls in our house, he'll just be like, you're so sexy, you're so beautiful, you're so gorgeous, constantly like hyping me up. Okay? So he's very complimentary and it's great. And it makes me feel very like, oh, he likes me, you know, we still have this sexual chemistry after all these years and everything. So that's a great thing I think guys could do. But, you know, a lot of them are very scared of a compliment, you know, or very just wedded to like the black pill scale. And I get these comments on all the time, like, but what if she isn't a 10? How could you possibly compliment her? It's like, first of all, try to see the 10 in whoever you're with. Okay? And just because, you know, society wouldn't cast her as the leading role in like an action movie doesn't mean you can't be attracted, doesn't mean you can't see unique beauty and stuff like that. Hold on one second, guys. So, yeah, that's one thing he does that's really good. 2, He is super generous in the bedroom. He really believes in like orgasm equality, okay? Unfortunately, I don't want to say that. How do I say this? Not all men even know that's a thing, okay? Not all men even know that a woman can and should orgasm every time a guy orgasms, okay? And a lot of men in the bedroom are very grabby in a way. They're very like eager to get theirs. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like if it's their one chance to have sex, they're just like, put your hand on my dick, basically. Well, it's not a very attractive attitude to women. It's really not. You kind of want to be generous and you kind of want to give off this impression of like, I'm in no rush. I'm going to get mine because I'm so good, basically, that she'll want to give it to me. And you don't want to be pushy. You don't want to seem desperate. You don't want to seem grabby. You don't want to seem rushed. So that's another thing Beardo does. He's very generous and feminist, you might say, in the bedroom. Now, number three attractive thing Beardo does, okay? And it might kind of think, what? You just contradicted yourself. Because he also knows how to role play someone who isn't feminist in the bedroom, okay? Someone who is kind of borderline crazy, okay? That's exciting. It's thrilling. And it's a great quality for guys to be able to do. Now, a lot of them do not want to do that because they feel, oh no, this negates my nice guy status. A nice guy would never do that. I was taught never to be, to hurt women. Well, you're not hurting women if it's all consensual. She says she's into it, and you're doing it with her safety, pleasure, and entertainment in mind. Do you know what I'm saying? You are hurting her if you just kind of like take out your anger on her and try to like beat her up or something like that. Okay, that's completely different than trying to put on a kinky persona of maybe an abusive asshole, dom, alpha, chad, whatever, in the bedroom for her entertainment, enjoyment, and pleasure. So that's what another thing Beardo does. That's he's really good at. Okay. Another thing, and I think I'm up to number 4 here. Another thing Beardo does that's very good is he has learned how to emotionally validate me. Okay. He had to learn this, but in conversation, when I'm talking to him, he like will really pay attention. He'll give me like full presence, as he likes to call it, and he will basically use the 5 secrets of effective communication. Another great book recommendation. I always talk about on this channel on me. So he will do like the disarming technique, like, yeah, that makes total sense that you would say that, or that's totally understandable that you would think that, or whatever. And then he'll use like maybe some feeling empathy on me, which is like, sounds like a very frustrating experience, or sounds like, you might be feeling pretty stressed out by that. And, tell me more, like this kind of thing. Emotional validation, guys, is huge. It's huge for women in relationships. It's a very intense desire for women because unfortunately, a lot of guys don't do this. A lot of people don't do this, all right? But we're talking about guys for now. So, yeah, that's another very attractive quality. And then number 5, I'll just say one thing Beardo always does is he always, when we go out, he'll like open the doors for me. He'll pull out my chair for me. He'll write like kind of cards for me that talk about like how great I am, all this stuff, guys. So he kind of indulges me in kind of benevolent sexism. He indulges me by playing kind of the role of, you know, I am the older, stronger, wiser man who is here to like protect you and provide for you. Even though we have a very kind of equitable relationship, he will kind of make the effort to kind of make me feel taken care of in all these ways. So those are 5 really important things I think that Beardo does that you guys could do as well. What do you guys think? So let's see. What do you think of that, Steve? So Bob Bill says, why are girls worried about being a slut when they tell their friends all their sexual experiences? If they don't want to be called a slut, just don't share stories with your female friends. Well, Bob Bill, this makes absolutely no sense. Okay, this is interesting point of view, but first of all, girls don't really tell their friends all their sexual experiences in details. They might share like, "Oh, I hooked up with this guy last night. His his dick was big, or he was really good in bed." But it's not like this kind of slumber party like fantasy I feel like you have where they're just like going to deal like then he like put it in the entrance. It was so hot. Oh my god, I was dripping everywhere. Like they're not saying these kinds of things. And then also, women aren't worried about their female friends thinking they're a slut because there's kind of an understanding among women that we all know we have sex drives and we all know this slut idea is kind of like foisted upon us and doesn't really make sense and is unfair. It's more they're scared about men not wanting to be in relationships with them if because they think that men think being a slut is bad. They know being a slut just means having a sexuality and liking sex. But unfortunately, it's kind of a mind fuck because I think for some reason in this world, for a woman to have a sexuality and for a woman to enjoy sex is bad in the minds of men. They don't understand why exactly. They just know that men don't like it. Men don't take that kind of girl home to their mom, or so they think. So that's kind of more of it. Tyke says, Victoria, the problem guys see with complimenting women is that it can make the man seem too available and as if he has no challenge. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's what a lot of guys think. It's not good in my opinion, but in certain situations, it could be good. In certain situations, sometimes keeping their mouth shut is better than giving a woman a horrible compliment. So, yeah, I mean, depends on the situation. Okay, so Tim is saying, this woman sent me an elegant picture of her in a sweater. I praised her looks, then said this to escalate. I wonder what I would say if you sent a picture without the sweater on. I want to find out. Yeah, Tim, that's very bad. Unless you guys have established a pattern of kind of sexting and she's like super into you. Depends on like what stage you said this, but in general, this is very amateur male gaze error, in my opinion. So Tim says, she said, I worry it might keep you up all night. I just sent one of me in a bathing suit. Then I said back, seeing you wearing your bra is what might keep me up all night. I want to see what happens. I don't like it, Tim. It's a little bit like, I mean, women, they're kind of used to it because a lot of guys act this way, like probably like 95% of guys act this way. But they don't like it. Like I see this kind of stuff posted in Facebook groups all the fucking time. And there's even like multiple Facebook groups dedicated to this behavior, like mocking it, which is just like I put the nice coins in. It's a sex follower. No, here's the one I was thinking of. Enough small talk. Let's talk about my dick. It's kind of a woman's way of saying, can guys stop being so grabby when it comes to sex? Like we know you want to have sex. We know you want to talk about sex, but are you able to control yourself enough to wait for the appropriate moment rather than, she sends you a picture of her with a sweater and you're like, take it off, let me see them titties. Like, it's just crazy, guys. Just chill, like chill, keep cool, keep a cool head and it will all happen in time. You don't need to be like, I'd love to see what's under that. It's like, they know. They know you love breasts and they know you like bras and they know you like lingerie. You don't need to just come out and be like, I don't want to make fun of someone with Tourette's, but it's like you gotta have Tourette's. Like you can't stop talking about sex. You know what I'm saying? So it will come off bad to a woman. In certain situations, it may be okay, like if she's just super into you or whatever, and she's like all hot and horny, and you know what I'm saying. But Joseph says, Victoria, would you say Beardo constantly courts you after all these years? The courting never stopped. That would be nice, Joseph. But I mean, he does keep up his kind of like he still takes me on dates and stuff like that. But it's not like it was like right in the beginning, where he's like pursuing me so hard or whatever. But in general, women would like that, Joseph. Absolutely. So, YY says, how to look dominant and protector to girl in the first interaction. Well, YY, by just doing the basic dating etiquette correctly, you will look dominant and like a protector to a girl. Okay? By messaging her in an appropriate way, by planning a date in an appropriate way, by talking to her and then escalating on the date physically in the appropriate way, by working on your looks and looks maxing and looking good on the date. With those things combined, you will look dominant and a protector to a girl. By doing some of the benevolent sexism kind of stuff, like paying for the date, opening the door for her in the car, or pulling out her chair for her, these can make you look dominant, masculine, and like a protector to a girl in the first interaction. You don't have to punch someone in the head. You don't have to engage in a bar fight or anything that people think. You don't have to be the loudest guy in the room and spew Andrew Tateisms. You know what I'm saying? You just need to do the basic dating etiquette correctly. So, does that make sense, YY? So Tim Connor says, O'Connor says, oh shit. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, it's a very common mistake, Tim. But, she might not care. I mean, from her response, it seemed like she was kind of humoring you, kind of into it. So you might not have blown it or anything. But in general, it's a very risky move. So Patrick says, but I don't think men see women that accepts their sexuality as sluts. I think for us men, the idea of slut is being sexually unfaithful and uncommitted. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Patrick. Well, at least that's a huge part of it. But yeah, I don't think women totally like understand that. They don't see it the same way. I mean, I feel like, men, they're more afraid because they know that a woman could use her sexuality to like get so many guys, because so many guys are like desperate and like easy prey for sex and like just want it so bad they can't. It's like they almost are too tempted. So guys see that, women, they don't see that. It's like the air they breathe. It's just guys want to have sex with them. So they don't see like the danger that a guy would see. Like, I invested all this into you and now you're going to be unfaithful because your sexuality is like very appealing to people other than me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Oh, we got Nani in the amazing Nani. Thank you so much for your super chat. He says, this woman is texting right now. I let her vent and I express how she's a hot mom, but I balance it with the female gaze. Her baby daddy calls her miserable. Amazing, Nani. You're doing an amazing job with this woman. Okay, let's learn from this guy here, guys. He tells her she's hot, but he balances it with the female gaze. In other words, I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your personality. You're hot, and of course I'd freaking love to bang you. Or, I want you. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. But I also want to get to know you. I also enjoy talking to you. I have a fun time with you. I like your personality. Okay? That is the winning alpha in love combo. Sexual desire like raw, unfiltered masculinity of like, I want you, I want to fuck you, I want to have sex with you, you're hot to me, plus I want to connect with you, I want to get to know you. That is a winning combo. Okay. Just one is not good. One or the other is not good, but together it is love react, guys. If you just act like, oh, let me see your bra, like, I'd love to have sex with you, it's the woman's gonna think, what else? And if you just are all female gaze and you're just like, oh, you're just so interesting, let's just talk for hours, the woman's gonna say, where's that raw masculinity? Where's the alpha? Where's Chad? So, like Nani's saying, put it together, you got a winning combination. And guess what? Her baby daddy calls her miserable. Yeah, I wonder why he's her baby daddy. Like, well, I wonder why she doesn't like the guy, okay? He calls her miserable. I wonder why that didn't last. You know what I'm saying? Really, really wonderful strategy to get a woman to like you. Just call her miserable. Yeah, all right. Wonderful. And you let her vent. Oh, yeah, that's going to be good. Wonderful. So thank you so much again, Nani. So Brian says, any advice for someone struggling to want to connect with women? I find having conversations through text and dates with women boring in general, but I don't know why. I also struggle to connect. Okay, Brian. So you go on dates with them, but you find it boring. Now, this could be a couple of things. Like, are you guys just, first of all, let me ask you, why do you find it boring? Well, you said you don't know why, so, but let me just offer a few suggestions and maybe it might jog your memory. Is it because maybe she's not giving you enough like reassurance, flirtation, making you feel desired? That's just one option. Is it because the topics kind of stick to like boring small talk and there's no sexual chemistry being developed on these dates? Like it almost feels like an interview. Is it because you kind of maybe lack good conversation skills in general and you don't kind of share enough about yourself enough to get into a good conversation, like the struggling to connect part? Like maybe it's just kind of a lack of connection and conversation skills in general. Is it because the women you're going on dates with, you don't really have anything in common with them? You don't find them mentally interesting, but they're hot. And you're kind of filtering for like the hottest people you can find, even if they are not compatible with you in any way and you don't find their personalities like interesting at all. So could it be any of those things, Brianna, or something else? So Tully says, I had a girl tell me God gives to some brain and some looks, and you are too good looking, and blocks me. Is there such a thing as a guy being too handsome and intimidating? I can't tell if this is an insult or not. God gives to some brain and some looks, and you are too good looking. So is she calling you stupid there? Because it's like, oh, you're good looking but not smart? Oh, I don't know. That's interesting. Like, maybe she was kind of insulting you and saying you said something stupid, and she was trying to do it in a nice way. But is there really such a thing as a guy being too handsome and intimidating? Yes. For some women, there are, because there is. Because some women find a guy who is too good looking threatening. They don't want to deal with what comes with that. They have some intuitive sense that just because he looks like Chad, it's not going to go well for them because he's going to cheat on them, or, they're going to have to fight off other women with sticks to keep him away from them, or he's going to be an asshole. He's not going to be interested in a relationship. He's not going to treat her the way that she wants because he doesn't have to treat her the way that she wants because he has so many other options. So, yes, some women are kind of like up on that and they realize, yeah, maybe not the best idea to date a guy who looks like a supermodel or whatever, even if he wants to have sex with me or whatever. So, Brown says, I also struggle with neediness for sex, and that's all I really want from women before I even know if I want to connect with them. Well, there's your answer, Brayon. In my opinion, this is another point I should have mentioned, but that's kind of the issue. Okay. A lot of guys, they feel this way. It's like, she's hot. I want to have sex with her, and I don't care about anything that's in her head or that comes out of her mouth. That is not a good place to be in. Okay. I get it. Because maybe you're just, please, someone, anyone, have sex with me. Who's hot? Please. Okay. But in that case, I would try to take the edge off by going to strip clubs, for example, okay, or other avenues, if you know what I mean, because that's what they're there for, to provide sex. Okay? I say normal, but what I mean is just civilian women are there because they want to usually feel like basic respect from a guy. And this attitude of, I don't care about what you're thinking. I don't care about what you're feeling. I don't care about who you are. I just care about your body and the holes in your body and using them and then leaving. That's not attractive to any woman. Okay? Basically. Maybe one. But it was not going to come off well. So if that's all you can feel when it comes to women pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So no shame in that. They're being fairly compensated in that situation for providing you that service that most civilian women do not want to provide. So, oh, we got a super chat here. Renew the R1. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your super chat. He says, could you go over the last quiz question from your last live? The one where the guy sent his girlfriend a meme about guys feeling validated when women initiate sex. The girlfriend got mad and said they talked about that at the beginning of the relationship and said she initiates more now. Sure, renew the R1. And thanks for asking. Thanks for caring about the quiz. Wow. I'm amazed you remember and care. So I'll just do a little quick recap. Your recap was good, but basically I did on the last live, but I got disconnected. But there was a quiz question, and basically it was this guy, and he very nicely, in my opinion, tried to explain to his girlfriend, hey, I'd really like if you initiated sometimes, because he basically sent her this meme that was implying every guy wants to feel like desired and like his girlfriend desires him. So, in my opinion, he went about it in a very non-threatening, good way. And he was trying to convey something really important to him. Okay. Which I think is very true. And the girlfriend should understand, right? However, the girlfriend got really mad and upset. And she was just like, fine, find someone who initiates then. And my quiz question to you guys was, why did she get upset? Okay. Because I'm kind of like on the male gaze perspective on this one. It's like, damn, woman, like, you can't even like hear that. Okay. But from the female gaze perspective, what I wanted you guys to understand is why someone would react like that. Okay. So what you have to understand is it can be a trigger for a lot of women. Okay. Because they are told that they should not ever have to initiate with a man. They are told you are basically In the feminine role, you're basically the princess. You should be courted, you should be pursued. And furthermore, they're kind of indoctrinated by dating coaches who say not only do you kind of deserve by your birthright of being a woman and like in the feminine role, men don't even like it when women are masculine, when women lead, when women like sex too much. Being horny all the time as a woman is not attractive. You should be coy, you should be modest, you should be feminine, you should be submissive. So if he makes a move on you, you can accept, you can passively react, but you are not the one making the moves. This is what women are told. Like, pick up a freaking dating book, you will see this advice. So it's pathetic. It's sad, but this is what they're told. You know, on top of that, all right, there's religion. Okay, what is like religion telling women? I don't really know because I was raised an atheist, but basically, it's telling women, don't be a slut. Let your husband take you. Let him lead. Let him use you. Your orgasm isn't important. Women want, like, I mean, I'm not sure if it's specifically saying that, but it's basically the vibe, right? It's kind of like sexuality is for men. Men are like super sexual, like beasts, and they're tempted by women, and women don't like sex, and it's kind of like weird purity culture stuff. Anyway, this is all the background of what's going on in women's heads. Okay. So they think that men are these hypersexual freaks. So if a hypersexual freak doesn't want you, what does that say about you? It says you must be like really ugly. You must be really unattractive. They assume so much about men that if a man doesn't want to have sex with you all the time, something is wrong. And if a man doesn't want to be in that masculine role all the time, if instead of you feeling desired, he wants to feel desired, something is wrong. The gender roles are like off in the universe. In the great chain of being, something is disturbed. You know what I'm saying? So this is like triggering her under the surface because she's not saying it, but when he's saying, sometimes I want to be desired, she's thinking, he doesn't desire me. He's not attracted to me. He's thinking he wants me to be in this masculine role that I don't know how to be in because I shouldn't be expected to be in this masculine role. I'm not good at this masculine role because it brings up all this triggers for me about like being a slut, liking sex too much. I've never had to be in this role because men have always made moves on me. This is the kind of stuff that's going on underneath the surface. She's not saying to the guy, but she's feeling probably, or some variation on it. But so does that make sense? Renew the R wand? Let me know. So I thought that was just good to keep in mind because it's like so many men, they want to be desired by a woman, and that's normal for a guy. But unfortunately, this will cause a huge tsunami in the minds of some women, okay? It's like an earthquake because they're thinking, what? I'm supposed to be the one who's desired. Okay? The roles are weird. I was told that I should always be in the feminine role. I was told that I should be passive. I don't know how to be like the aggressor. So that's a lot what's going on in a woman's mind. So this can cause issues. Do you guys get it? Oh, thanks, Tim. He said the quizzes are fantastic, so helpful and necessary, lol. It's great. BOS says, I think men do need to accept that even with all their desires, they need to lead the way and make things comfortable enough for the woman to lean into her slutty masculine side. I agree with you. BOS. Ideally, Men would do what you said. Ideally, they would lead the way for women to accept and feel comfortable enough, like exactly like you're saying, that, hey, maybe it's okay for me to attempt being slutty with this guy. Maybe he won't judge me. Maybe he actually likes it when I'm slutty. Maybe he thinks it's hot when I'm slutty. Maybe this is actually fun being slutty. Maybe I can be the aggressor and he won't think it's weird. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, ideally, and it's kind of this is kind of the weird ironic thing BOS is like women expect men to know more about sex than they know about their own bodies. Which makes no sense because it's like women have all the options in the world sexually and men are like fighting for like a chance. But women assume that men have like super high body counts and they know all about sex and they know all about women's bodies and it couldn't be further from the truth. Okay? But this is what they're assuming because women's sexuality has been really shut down. A lot of women have not even like touched themselves. A lot of women have not like looked. They don't even know what's down there because they've been from such a young age told it's don't touch that, don't look at that, don't be sexual, never end up on the pole. Men don't like women with high body counts and all this stuff. So they're so shut down sexually a lot of times and they just assume, oh, well, when I get with a man, he'll kind of like teach me because he knows a lot. Not realizing they know nothing for the most part. So, do you guys get it? So, yeah. All right. Let's see, anything I missed in the chat here? All right, you guys. So, Renew the R1 says, yes, makes sense. Thanks, Vic. Thanks for the question, Renew the R1 and the super chat. Strick says, what if both aisles have a high body count? Good. Okay. Very good. As long as they, were safe, as long as they don't have any active walls, I guess as long as they communicate about their STI status or lack thereof, nothing wrong with it. They will probably have a good sex life because they will probably be both people who like sex and have experience with sex and are motivated to have sex. So Tim says, yeah, expecting men to know more about the female body than the girl is ridiculous. And it's also a ton of fun as a guy to learn as much as he can to balance out the pleasure. Lol. Yep. Indeed. Brian says, how do you have interesting conversations with women on a date? Well, Bran, you have to get interested in other people. And, well, there's a whole like field about this, like, getting good with people, getting good at conversation, people skills, you know what I'm saying? So, but like, what are the basics? Ask her questions about herself, and she'll probably ask you a question back, and then share some information about yourself. Try to find the common ground. And try to ask like open-ended questions so it's not just like yes or no answers. These kinds of things. And hopefully you can get on a topic that you're both interested in. It's kind of like you search around trying to find like something that you both have interested in, like maybe travel. Like everybody likes travel, right? Well, not everyone. And then, share some like real thoughts and feelings and opinions about travel, and hopefully that should do it. But yeah, I don't know if that was too basic or not basic enough. I don't know. So BOS says, I've noticed something about myself too. I was so worried about being performative that I never even considered my own joy and curiosity and need for exploration. And is that sexually abuse or? So Smartwater says, what does it mean when a girl I have been seeing for a hookup says all of a sudden I'm not ready to date right now? Well, it could mean she just wants to be friends with benefits, or she could be letting you down gently. But if she says she's not ready to date right now, you could be like, that's fine. Like, we can take it slow and you guys can still keep hooking up, or you can just, if she's really like, no, no, I mean, like, I can't do this anymore, accept it and move on and find someone else. So YOI says, why women's want to be approached with respect, but they love disrespect in bed. I mean, what make the difference? Okay, why? Here's something you need to know. People do not, all right, how should I say this? There is a common kink, okay? It's basically like a misogyny kink, all right? Now, why is there a misogyny kink? Because this is what I've heard, okay? When you're trying to coordinate your orgasm, basically, you need to engage both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Meaning, first you have to kind of engage that rest and relax part of yourself. And then you need to suddenly coordinate this flip and this switch and kick it into this fight or flight. That's what kind of pushes you over the edge into orgasm. So these shocking things, like for example, being disrespected in bed, help coordinate that switch because it like shocks your brain. You're like, oh, I'm like really relaxed. But now let me think of something like really shocking and taboo. Boom. You're coming, basically. So people develop kinks for shocking stuff. Okay. One of those things for women is misogyny. Okay. Like, basically, it's like so horrible and wrong for a guy to disrespect you, right? It's like, then all of a sudden you're like, what would really shock my brain? And this is all subconscious, but somebody saying something like horrible to me, someone doing the exact thing I'm like scandalized by. So this is basically a very common kink, okay, among men and women, honestly. I mean, obviously for men, it's not misogyny, but it's like being degraded, being, humiliated. These are common kinks because it's shocking to people. So with women, they want to be approached with respect because everybody likes respect. That makes them feel safe. That makes them feel secure. That makes them feel respected. These are basic human nature things everybody likes. However, when it comes to sex, because you're feeling so safe, secure, respected, you might feel safe enough to be like, hey, here's what's going to help me come most intensely. You know what I'm saying? Here's what's going to help me really like coordinate this orgasm, like, and put into overdrive. Okay. And that might be disrespect. So that, in my opinion, is the explanation. Does that make sense? So it's not like, and so many guys on my channel get this wrong. It is so crazy because they'll just be like, oh, this female propaganda, like they actually want to be respected. I'm like, yeah, they want to be respected. How is this? How? How is this hard? People want to be respected. And then you can add on top of that, once there is respect, kink, sex stuff. Okay. But bare minimum, you can't just go up to someone and punch them in the face like men kind of imply women want. It's ridiculous. It's so freaking ridiculous. I'm sorry. Anyway. So let's see what D says. He's super chatting me. Thank you so much, D. He said, I'm in Berlin. It's a disaster here. It's extremely woke and progressive. Women are literally men haters here. You have no idea how bad things are in ultra liberal places. It's dystopian. Well, D, I kind of do. because I am on this side of TikTok and I'm a feminist myself and I'm progressive myself. And while I might not be the wokest person of them all, probably like maybe slightly above averagely woke. I don't know. I try to be woke. I enjoy the wokeness and woke ideas. I'm not up on everything, so I'm not like. But anyway, um, yeah, and they're man haters. Yeah, there's a big movement right now where women are really pushing back. So you have no idea how bad things are. I feel like I might have some idea because I get a lot of man hating content on my TikTok and stuff too. So yeah, but honestly, what are you feeling about this, D? How does it make you feel, and what do you think about it as well? I'm curious. Is it like scary, or do you feel like attacked, or I'm curious. Tell me more. And thank you so much for super chat. I really appreciate it. So then Tim O'Connor, he super chatted me. Thank you so much, Tim. He said, I heard the most attractive male body part is the back from a woman. Thoughts on abs? Thanks for sharing your experience and giving tons of knowledge. All right. Well, Tim O'Connor, a couple thoughts about this. All right. So I was kind of telling Beardo this last night. It's like women will say that the most attractive body part is something subtle, okay? It's never like the dick or the abs would even be like too much because it's like almost too sexualized. Women, it's like, think of the video about the runway, okay? They're gonna start with something lower on the runway because if they're not like literally turned on and like literally wet, they're not. If they're so turned on and they like can't wait to have sex, they might say the dick is the most attractive male body part, or you know, some kind of sexualized thing like the lower abs or something. But in general, they're going to say something like the hands or veiny forearms or the back. These are kind of like things that are on the low end of the runway, if you will. They're not overly sexualized, they're just hinting at sexuality. So that's very common. So you want to take it kind of with a grain of salt, okay? Because it doesn't mean in every situation this is the most attractive body part or whatever, but this is what they're going to say. So, thoughts on abs. Women like abs, okay? Women like muscles. Women like guys who look really looks max, just like guys like girls who look very looks max. Okay? Like if you have abs, that's definitely a bonus, that's definitely a plus from most women. It's not necessary or perhaps even sufficient in many cases, but it's never a bad thing, okay? It's like if a woman had like amazing hair or something, it's never going to be bad. Or a woman had like amazing breasts or something. It's like she might be beautiful without, just 10 out of 10 that, but it's never a bad thing if it was like even more amazing, right? That's kind of how they feel about abs. It's like they like good looking guys, and that's why I always tell you guys, never underestimate the importance of the black pill, never underestimate the importance of looks maxing, because they're not going to tell you, they're not going to straight out say, you know, no ugly guys. Well, they do a lot of times, don't they? But often they don't. But it's subconscious. They like it too. So does that make sense, Tim? So hello, Nick, and hello, David Gonzalez. He says, Victoria, always nice to see you. Hello, David. Always nice to see you. What's the latest with you? OK Cover says, wow, I didn't realize that. Fascinating. Which part OK covers? So Lookbook says, I would suggest be extra nice and sweet to these women to begin with, almost submit to them to make them feel comfortable, then slowly revert to the masculine role once you have the rapport going. There was an excellent example of that exact thing that I wanted to use as a quiz from the Netflix show I was talking about, Nobody Wants This. There was an excellent example of that. I don't know if you've seen it, Lookbook, but they're in a sex shop together, and she puts a collar and leash around his neck, and he submits to it. And I paused it and I asked Beardo, I'm like, David, do you think this is hot to a woman or not hot? And he actually guessed wrong because he thought, oh, it's not hot because he's not in the masculine role. But I'm like, no, it is, because he's showing her that he's comfortable with this, and he's kind of hinting, I'm okay with whatever you do to me sexually. I'm comfortable with BDSM, and I can do it to you too. So it's like making her feel comfortable and safe. Like, yeah, he's kind of like a harmless dog who's not going to bite before. So she kind of feels like, okay, he's safe. And then he can ramp it up. So I agree with you, Lookbook, like what you're saying. So Renew the R Wand, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, what's the appropriate greeting when you meet a woman for the first time on a first date? Is it okay to start off with a hug? Is that too intimate? Handshake instead? So Renew the R Wand, I would definitely go in for a hug. Okay? Lots of people hug each other. All right? Even strangers hug each other. I think a hug is good. Okay? And if she kind of pulls back and offers her hand, you can do the handshake instead. But it's pretty normal for the intimacy of a date where you've kind of already messaged back and forth to hug. Plus, it shows that you're kind of not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It shows that you're okay with touching her and you're not going to be scared and shy and intimidated. You know what I'm saying? So it can kind of set the tone on a good note. Like, oh yeah, like I'll hug you, I'll touch you, like in an appropriate way, of course. But it kind of says, I don't have a problem touching you. I like you. I'm attracted to you. I'm friendly. So yeah, I think hug is very good. And I would also start off with a compliment as well. Like it could be something so simple, guys, like you look great, or you look beautiful. You want to keep it short and simple, but a compliment and a hug is a great way to get the date started. Like I said, do not force this. If she's like, I don't hug, how about a handshake? Just do what Lookbook was saying, which is kind of just make her feel comfortable, go with the flow, say absolutely or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, OK Cover says that the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems need to coordinate, ending in a shock. Yes, OK Covers. I heard this. I don't know if you've heard of Kenneth Play. He's supposedly a sex hacker. Okay, and he's like studied with all of the greatest sex therapists in the land. He has a course, and I got the course, and this is one of the things he was saying in the course about the science of orgasm. Now, I was very interested in that as well. This idea about the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems need to coordinate, ending in a shock. And I was kind of like, I should really email him because I'm like, what book did that come from? I'd really like to read more about that because that made so much sense to me. When I heard that the first time, I'm like, yeah, that's so true. Like, especially for me, like my orgasm, like first I have to relax and I have to kind of calm myself and I have to like untense. And then I have to like really ramp it up at the end. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, brilliant. Makes so much sense. It's like the best explanation for kinks I've ever heard. But I haven't read the studies that came from, and I have been looking and want to find that book. So if any of you guys know, let me know who did that research because it's brilliant. All right, XX, I have to put you in timeout. So Tim says, so if I heard you right, some women will just say something random as a path to build up to 5% rather than straight to the point, 100%. And I should really pay attention, but still look good? Well, not exactly, Tim. It's more like they're not saying something random. It's not random. They are attracted to things that just have a hint of sexuality when they're not turned on. When they're not as turned on, and you ask them, what's the hottest thing about a man? They're going to say, hands with veins in them. Because, see, veins hint at like raw, untamed masculinity coursing through a guy's vein. They hint at him being kind of like a beast, but it's just a tiny, tiny hint. They're not going to say, oh, a guy like ripping his shirt off and he looks like an action figure because his abs are like popping, his pecs are popping, and his dick is hard. Like they would never say that. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was talking about. So BOS says, I do wonder sometimes at what point does being comfortable or kind become a turnoff for the girl? And does the need for dominance kick in for the guy? Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. If you could isolate that exact point, that exact turning point, the exact fine balance of that, that would be freaking epic video, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, it's a it's an art and a balance, as they say. But yeah, I mean, would be interested to like really know that exact turning point. Jason Chan says, how important is vax status in dating as an approach? I wouldn't try to use that as your dating approach, Jason. Could you be joking? So David says, my lady friend has children, so I don't see her as often as I like, but she is worth waiting for. It's going slowly, but that's okay. I really like her. Awesome, David. So Kiko says, how long should you wait before having sex? Well, that really depends on the two of you. You could wait anywhere from 5 minutes to months, if that's your style. But don't wait years, in my opinion, unless it's a very special situation. And don't wait more than, well, I don't want to tell you guys this. This is terrible. But if you value sex, try to find someone with a similar sex drive to you. Okay. And if someone's wanting to wait like so many months, will they ever really enjoy sex? Just something to ponder. Okay. There could be many situations where, yeah, they do, and it's extenuating circumstances. But a lot of guys, I feel they can get trapped in these relationships with people who maybe don't even like sex, don't share the same sex drive. They might be asexual, they might be gray sexual, they might be demisexual only. So anyway. So Tig Smith says, submitting to a woman early on can be a high-risk move as it could give her the ick. Generally looking to a woman for approval is a big turn-off for them. Well, Tig, I mean, you're not wrong. These things are subtle. That's why I wanted to show an example from the show on Netflix. So you can see in this situation, it could work. In another situation, different kind of thing might be best. But if you kind of understood like exactly what kind of situations we're referring to, or what kind of subtle ways we're kind of talking about here, you might agree with us as well. But I mean, you definitely have a point. So Jason says, for a woman, is it true after sex, if you're able to immediately get up and put yourself back together, it wasn't that great? Interesting question. So yes and no, Jason, because it's not the best sign, in my opinion. If a woman after sex is kind of like ready to run out the door, that's probably not a very good sign that it went well. If she just seems like really eager to get out of there, like, okay, well, that was fun. See you later. Bye. That is not a good sign. That is probably a sign that she did not orgasm. She did not like it. Perhaps she's uncomfortable. Perhaps she even feels violated. So You don't want to just like be like, this is a 100% true all the time rule. But yeah, it's like all signs are pointing to perhaps something is wrong. Okay, because if the woman really had great sex and she had an orgasm, it's more likely she's just gonna want to like enjoy it, like lie in bed with you, cuddle with you, even. Okay, but I mean, it depends on the situation because let's say it's a one night stand or something. She might be feeling uncomfortable, like, okay, I don't know this guy. He probably doesn't want me to stay. Maybe I'll look too needy if I stay. Maybe I should just go and see if he pursues me. Like, all these kinds of things could be running through her head. But after really great sex, she probably will be in sex brain, as I like to call it, and she'll just be lounging around like in dreamland, basically. That's more the norm, in my opinion, after very good sex. After very bad sex, it's let me get the F out of here. You know what I mean? So, Tully's, thank you so much for a super chat. But he says, for a red balloon bag to react, link the original. Unfortunately, Tully's, I'm nervous because I already got some issues on my channel, let's say, for things that the AI flagged me for, which did not make sense at all. So I'm scared because if I react to it on YouTube, they're probably going to make me take this whole live down. So I apologize because you super chatted me and I know you wanted me to um, react to this, but I don't want to get my channel shut down and I don't want to get this live taken down. So I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ask me another question and I'll answer it. Since I can't react to your video. Or perhaps if you want, you can take back your super chat. I don't know if it's possible, but I wish I could. I really do. So, oh, Bob Bill, we can always count on you to get the red pill agenda. He says, if a guy is waiting more than 3 months, you are being used. I don't agree. Even though I just said I basically like agree with you, when you phrase it that way, I don't agree. I mean, it's just not 100% true. Perhaps it could be like 40% true, but anyway. Then he says, if a girl makes you wait more than a few months, she's not super religious, she's just using you while banging Chad. Oh, of course. Of course. It's all about Chad. And of course, see, Bob Bill, you're positioning yourself. You're thinking of yourself in such a low self-esteem way. You're thinking of yourself as a guy who a girl could only want for money because you could never look like Chad, you could never be Chad. So the only thing she could want from you is money. So you're basically positioning yourself and basically saying to the world, I am a beta. The only thing I could ever have to offer a woman is money. The only way a woman could ever want me is if she uses me. Like, you're saying this about yourself. Why are you positioning yourself in this role? Why don't you take the approach of, I can learn better skills and better attitudes so that girls see me as Chad. I can looks max. I can really work hard to improve my looks so that I'm in the Chad spectrum. You know, I'm in the threshold. Okay. Instead of she's going to bang other guys, not me, and she's going to use me for money. Do you see how this is just such a beta tell to women? And it doesn't have to be. You're literally saying, I don't see myself as good for anything other than money. Okay. Meanwhile, girls see other guys they're willing to have sex with them, not for money, but not me. Take yourself out of this category, Bob Bill. Like, you don't deserve to be in it, okay? There's been so many guys who they look terrible or whatever. They didn't put effort into their looks, okay? And then they get a haircut, or they get a hair piece, or they get a wig, or they get colored contacts, or they go to a stylist and they get a completely new outfit. They go to a dermatologist and they start getting skincare. There's people here even doing plastic surgery out there. You know what I'm saying? Okay. When there's a will, there's a way. You don't have to be, you know, the guy Chad is like effing his girlfriend or whatever. You don't have to be that guy, Bob Bill. Really, you don't. And as soon as you get rid of all the red pill brain rot, I'm sorry, it will be a lot easier because women won't be just rolling their eyes every time you open your mouth. You'll just be connecting with them in the normal way that I tell people on this channel. That's the normal way they expect. And you'll be looking good. And you'll be banging people yourself and not just for money. Okay. And in other words, and it's not just because you have to have money. You can be broke. And if you look good enough, women will want to have sex with you. You can have really good game and be broke. And women will still consider you. You know what I'm saying? So take yourself out of this category, please. David Gonzalez super chatted me and he says, love your truth bombs, Victoria. Oh, thank you so much, David. And do you agree, David? What's your take? I mean, I'm curious because you have a great attitude as well. I find it sad when guys think the only thing I'm good for is just a bank account or whatever. What do you guys think in the chat? I'm curious. Jellyfish Kaiju says, have you seen the ContraPoints video on Twilight? I feel like I was able to understand it fully only because I've consumed so many of your words. Oh, wow, Jellyfish. No, I haven't. But should I watch it? It's a good video. And that's awesome. Like, I'm curious, what did it say? D super chatted me. Thank you so much, D. He said, I recently realized my previous relationship was a 9-year-long escape room. The games, the riddles, the psychological pressure, and manipulation crazy. Yikes, D. That sounds terrifying. I've actually never done an escape room, but I want to do an escape room. So that's pretty cool. But it sounds like she may have been, as I like to mention this book all the time on my lives, one of the 5 people who can ruin your life. One of the 5 people with one of the 5 personality disorders this book talks about. Perhaps a narcissist or a sociopath or even a psychopath, D. Maybe someone with histrionic personality, borderline personality disorder, paranoid personality disorder. What do you think, D? Do you think she had a personality disorder or what? What was going on in this relationship? But thank God you got out, D. Seriously, you're free. Wonderful. Tell us more. Sounds juicy. And thanks again for the super chat, D. I appreciate that. Okay, Kara says, Chad Spectrum, a great concept. Yeah, I have to give that credit to my friend, Philosophy Junkies. I'm pretty sure he came up with that because we like to talk about this kind of stuff. So we were talking about the Chad Spectrum, but I'm pretty sure he came up with it. He's going to start his own YouTube channel, but I enjoy his field experiments. He's looks maxed hardcore and gotten insane results. Okay. I mean, this guy, he's like wearing full costume basically, and it's working like magic. So, hello, Russell Cameron Thomas. Bob Bill says, no, I am not. I'm just saying the truth of how women work. But that's not really the truth. I mean, I mean, I guess that could be one situation in which a girl, like, uses a guy for money and has sex with a good-looking guy on the side. I mean, that's kind of a niche situation. Niche situation? What's probably niche, right? Anyway. Oh, D says, yes, she was histrionic. Oh, no, that one sounds bad. Terrible. How did you get out? And did she try to ruin your life? David says, Chad should be irrelevant. Know yourself and be comfortable with yourself, and everything else falls into place. Red pills and negative spiral. Women don't care about your grievances. Yeah, I kind of agree. Indeed. Well said. Tig says, I heard of a guy who used to bring different girls on first dates to the same escape room over and over and over again. But tell each new girl he'd never done before he was trying to impress them. Oh my gosh, what a classic. That is funny. That is really funny. That is classic. Oh my gosh. Indeed, Tim. Indeed. So Jason Chan says, what are your thoughts on men going their own way? Toxic femininity destroyed dating. Women are hitting the wall. Silly and stupid, Jason Chan. Okay, that's just my opinion, all right? I'm one of the people in the camp of do not give up. Just try to learn more about women, understand more about looks maxing, understand more about dating etiquette, grow your sex skills, try to improve, try to experiment, and don't go your own way and live a lonely, cold life of asexuality. Okay? I'm very sex positive. I think sex is great. I think guys should be having sex too. It's sad that they aren't, okay? Unfortunately, it's a lot more competitive for them. They have to do a lot more work to get there. But I'm saying that work is worth it, okay? That's my approach. I don't want you guys living lives of, what do they call, quiet desperation? Okay, that's no way to live life. I want you guys to develop your skills so that women are like, oh, he's a great option. Oh, he seems like he would be a good guy to have sex with. Oh, I like what he's done. I noticed the looks maxing. Okay, all right. All right. That or just, you know. But no, I don't agree with just complaining about women on the internet, having feminism be like the fantasy villain, or it's just like, it all comes back to feminism. I wish we could go back to a time where women like had to be in forced marriages of convenience with men, because then at least we would have gotten women. Like, it's truly just horrible copes, instead of like doing the hard work. And I know it can be frustrating because like you've tried and it hasn't worked out, but keep going. There's other coaches out there. There's other YouTube channels out there that are popping up all the time. You can always pick up a tip or two. You never have to give up. So don't fall into the copes and just stagnate. And I feel that the men going their own way, is kind of a cope. Because it's like none of them want to be without women for the rest of their lives. So they're just sad and lonely. And then they say, oh, I don't care. I hate women. Trust me, I really don't care. I actually love being single and alone. Who is buying that? And there's still like hundreds of times a day. No, all right, hundreds of times a month. All right, I'll go with dozens of times a month to be more accurate. I get comments from these men going their own way people on my channel saying, I don't care. Who cares what women want? And it's literally on a video titled like What Women Want. I'm like, you care. Like you literally clicked on a video called What Women Want. And you're just saying, who cares what women want? I certainly don't care what women want. It reminds me of like that scene in Austin Powers 2, where it's like, one penis enlarger. What's that doing in here? And then it's like, that's not mine, baby. And then it's like, one signed receipt for a penis enlarger. And it's like, I don't know how that comes. There's like one book, My Penis Enlarger and Me, written by Austin Powers. Like it just goes on and on and on. I'm like, this is what these guys remind me of because I'm like, you're here. You're literally clicking on the video. Like, who do you think you're fooling? I don't get it. It's crazy to me. But yeah, what do you guys think of them? So, Renew the R1 says, I went down the red pill MGTOW rabbit hole for a few years. So glad to have crawled out of that. Your content clears up so many false presumptions I had about female behavior. Much more uplifting, positive, and constructive than listening to all the red pill bitterness. Thank you so much, Renew the R1. That is wonderful to hear, honestly. And you know what? As much as I say I'm a feminist, feminism, in my opinion, makes a few mistakes like that as well. They have many false presumptions about male behavior, and they fall into a lot of the same bitterness, resentment, and like straight up hatred. Like it can be very similar because it's like, they see bad things happening, but they don't know why the bad things happen. Like, so they just jump to the worst possible presumptions with like the worst possible takes, like women are evil, men are evil. It's more complicated than that. It's more nuanced than that. So yeah, I just see a lot of that. So it just comes off as straight up misogyny or straight up misandry. And it's like, you need to learn more about the male gaze or the female gaze or the male world, the female world, how men grow up, all the things that they're not saying that they've been experiencing and expectations being pushed on them their whole life. And then you will have a much deeper empathy and understanding. And it won't be just as simple as men are trash or women are, what do they say that's like really bad about women? Women are trash, basically. Women can never love a man, or women have no empathy, or it seems like that. I get it, but it's much more nuanced. So, yeah, sometimes, I'm listening to the feminist stuff and I'm like, damn, that's a big assumption. You don't understand like where that comes from. You need lessons with a male gaze coach. Okay? And vice versa. So, JCM's X says, if you're a man or a woman that decides to give up on dating relationships, you don't need to announce your departure, you don't need a movement, and you will not be missed. Just go. Yes, very well said. Exactly. That's the other kind of funny part about the men going their own way. It's very ironic because it's like, yes, but you don't go your own way. Like, you're still here talking about it nonstop. I agree. And the sad thing is, you will not be missed. Very true. And that's kind of what women feel. It's just like, just go then, you know? I don't want them to go. I want them to stay. But it does get annoying when they keep announcing it. So, Russell Cameron Thomas, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, can you explain why women like guys who enjoy dancing? And what if a guy feels they are bad at dancing? How to connect with women in dancing? Great question, Russell Cameron Thomas. Well, it's a very interesting question. Okay. Now, a lot of times, if a guy is good at dancing, he's kind of channeling a lot through his facial expressions. That's something I've been noticing recently, okay? Because sometimes I'll see these guys dancing on TikTok and I'm like, what is so fucking attractive about this? Sometimes he's channeling almost like alpha dom, like masculine aggression through his facial expressions in dancing, and it can be like really attractive. It's basically like demonstrating, all his different like masculine sides. Okay, that's one aspect. Another aspect is just he's kind of demonstrating his like athletic, sensual skills, like another thing is it's almost like just a talent where it's like, when a guy's really good at guitar, it's just like impressive. Like people are drawn to him, you're drawn to him, and it's like kind of similar with dancing. Um, I think it might also kind of show like confidence, like, you know, dancing takes confidence. So it might kind of show like, oh, he's not a people pleaser, he's like an alpha kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a great question. These are just some kind of guesses and intuitions. I don't know the exact answer, but I know that it's hot. What if a guy feels they are bad at dancing? Well, Russell Cameron Thomas, you might want to. I'm not saying you have to, but you could start taking dance lessons if you want to develop an attractive skill. Now, how to connect with women in dancing. Well, I used to go out to the club dancing a lot before I started working in the literal club. I used to enjoy dancing for free in the club before I started getting paid to dance in the club. Um, but so one thing I really liked was I liked a guy who basically would dance by himself. It was content, kind of just like dancing alone. Then he would kind of make eye contact and almost do a little bit of flirting on the dance floor, but he wasn't like aggressively coming up and trying to like grab your hips and like dry hump you basically. So he would kind of just make eye contact and do a little like flirting through the eyes and like the dance moves, kind of a humorous like I dance a little, you dance a little, we're connecting, still dancing separately, okay? But it's like almost the runway. It's like you do you don't go all the way and start like grinding on each other, but you kind of run way up to it. And it's just by connecting through eye contact, through dance moves, and then maybe you can come over and kind of like dance, just not like all up on each other, but just like here, talk to each other, and then you move in when kind of the connection has been established, and then you can start grinding on each other, whatever you're gonna do. So, you know, those are my tips. But yeah, it's a great question, Russell Cameron Thomas. I used to have a horrible dance phobia, so I realized that not everyone's a good dancer and not everyone feels they can dance. However, you can get over it through learning dance skills, forcing yourself to do it, even though like you look stupid and you're terrible at it, you will get better that way. Or you can actually study it and learn it, like in class. So, what do you think? And what do you guys think? Russell Cameron Thomas says, great answers on dancing. I can confirm this all works with women. Yep. Okay, yeah, that's what I liked back in the day. Gematria says dancing relates to sex. That's what they say. It can, yeah, because I mean, if you're kind of like loose on the dance floor, you can be like loose sexually too. Dee says no open times on calendar. Do you still do one-on-one? Unfortunately, guys, I am taking a 6-week break because something very good, as I've been hinting at, is about to happen. So I'm gonna be off the schedule. That's why I haven't been doing many lives lately. I haven't put any times on the schedule. So yeah, but I'll be back. Wait for me. So yeah. Anyway, guys. Well, I should really get going, my friends. Anyone have any last questions? We could do a last minute quiz. Thank you guys for your super chats. You've been keeping me so occupied. Tig says, I understand men who have gone through an ugly divorce deciding to never get married again. Oh, yeah, of course. Tig, I definitely understand as well. Absolutely. That can really ruin your life. Why would you want to jump back into that? Oh, Luppy Nut, I'm not sure if you're here, but He says, any tips to maintain a healthy relationship? How can I differentiate and treat my women differently than a man friend? That's a great question. That is a great question. Well, I don't know if you heard this part, but somebody asked me earlier on in the chat, what is 5 things Beardo does that you really like? Well, those are all 5 great relationship tips in my opinion. So perhaps you might want to, although I hate to say this to you because it involves extra work for you, but if you can scroll back and read that, listen to that part, yeah, that would be some good tips. All right, guys, I think I'm getting too tired because as you can tell, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, guys, I better go. I'll just read this last thing. Sebastian says, do you think that showing anger at my girlfriend's behavior or complaining about her behavior that I dislike can be seen as beta by her? Well, Sebastian, it's a good question because it depends how you do it, but I could see some situations where it could be. Like my friend had a boyfriend, and that was kind of her conclusion because he was just always wanting to have like these emotional talks about, and he was criticizing her constantly, and she kind of felt that about him. But in other ways, in other situations, it's good to have boundaries. It's good to stick up for yourself. It's good to express yourself. So I feel like we need a better specific situation here, you know? All right. Thank you guys so much. Renew the R1 has always been horribly self-conscious about my dancing abilities. After years of practice, I've become a confident singer and have had a lot of fun lately singing the bars I frequent. Women seem to be impressed by it too. If I could learn how to dance, I'd really have something to work with. That's awesome, R1. Oh, look at J Sims X. Thank you so much for the very generous super chat, J Sims X. He says, thanks for doing these. You have a great balance of empathy and fearlessness. Oh, wow. What a great compliment. Thank you so much, J Sims. An A plus for the female gaze compliment. I love it. Thank you. And good night, David. All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night. And who knows what's going to happen in the next week, guys. But hopefully it's going to be good. Maybe I'll be back in the next week. Maybe I won't. But yeah, this could be really good. So anyway, guys, oh, hey, Renew the R1 super chatted me. Thank you so much, Renew the R1. Enjoyed all your contributions tonight. And thanks so much for all your super chats. You guys rock. You get a rocking love react from me tonight. Thank you for participating. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for sharing your great points in the chat, enlightening me about the male gaze and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, guys. So, good night to everybody. Bye.